Day, June 1st. Is news going to break today? Like I told you, probably not, but hey, I still make content for you. And you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about a lot of ifs. It's late. I make these videos late, hence me wearing the same thing, just no hat. What am I doing? Let's start the video. What is up, Finn fans? Like I said in that intro that at one point I just had a brain fart. It's June 1st. Now, again, is something going to happen? Is something going to happen right now, here, now? I was going to sing a song, but I can't remember the words. I will say this, right? This was tweeted out yesterday. My jersey is coming out from Pro Football Talk saying a resolution to the Dalvin Cook situation in Minnesota could be coming by the end of the week. So tomorrow, today, I don't know. But like I said in my previous video yesterday, my first video, don't expect it to be like free agency where crazy things are going to happen. Dolphins are going to get $13.6 million in cap space. They'll probably sign their rookies, see how things are going, kind of look over at Dalvin Cook and the Vikings. What are you doing? What are you doing? You caught him? We're calling? You caught him? We'll call him. You caught him? We'll call him. What are you doing? So, if news breaks, you'll get a second video today. But I have been planning on doing this video. 2023 Miami Dolphins. I don't know what the title is. Let me make it up off the top of my head right now. 2023 Miami Dolphins. Lots of ifs. Or 2023 Miami Dolphins success depends on ifs. I think I like the second one better. So 2023 Miami Dolphins depends on ifs. And I'm going to run it down. There's a bunch of ifs, right? There's the one if that we constantly hear and talk about. I am going to talk about that. But I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 7 ifs for you. Not just the one that everyone keeps harping on. But then also I have a caveat to that. So without further ado, without me farting around anymore, because now it's been about 2 minutes of me farting around. Some people really hate it, and then they comment, oh, video starts at this point, which then entices me to really see how long I can extend these intros. Some of you guys are cool, and they like to listen to me ramble, and they think I'm funny. So then I ramble, and I act like an idiot. So we're going to be talking about ifs, right? We're going to talk about the first if, the big if. The if that has been on ESPN, NFL Network, Cameron Wolfe has talked about it, Louis Riddick has talked about it, Herm Edwards has talked about it, Rich Eisen has talked about it, Dan Orlowski has talked about it. So everyone and their mother has talked about this if. The Miami Dolphins, some are saying will win the division if. Some will say the Miami Dolphins are Super Bowl contenders if. Some are saying Miami Dolphins are playoff teams if Tua Tagovailoa can stay healthy, right? That's the if. That's the if that everyone says and is constantly out there, and that's the big if. You hear someone say the Miami Dolphins will be successful if, boom, first thing, Tua's got to stay healthy. Man's got to stay healthy. And I'm not here to say, we got to stop bringing that up. And we got to stop saying that because it's nonsense. And because you look at it in 2021, when Tua was on the field, start to finish, 8-4. Start to finish, 8-4, the Miami Dolphins record. With Tua not on the field, start to finish, 1-4. This past year, 2022, Tua on the field, start to finish, start the game, end the game, played fully, completely healthy, 8-4. Tua not on the field, start to finish, 1-5. So when Tua's on that field, start to finish, playing for this Miami Dolphins team, we win over 500. When he's not, we win one game without him. And I've talked about stats out the yin yang about, people want to bring up, oh, well, Tua's success was only because he had, I turned it to freaking Jack Sparrow all of a sudden. Why is all the room gone? He has the wide receivers, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They did nothing when he wasn't there. They didn't even score a touchdown when he wasn't on the field. Oh, it's the system. They have quarterbacks in the system. But you could see the stats. All that stuff is better when Tua's on the field. So that is why. And that's why I'm not here to say, oh, my God, the mainstream media, the ifs, if Tua's healthy and this and that. Oh, my God, they need to stop. Because they are 1,000% right. For the Miami Dolphins to be successful, Tua Tagovailoa needs to be on that field from start to finish of a game. We've seen what happens when he's not on the field start to finish. 2021. He got taken out, broke his ribs. Jacoby Brissett came in. We all know what happened after that. Cincinnati, concussion, got taken out. Teddy Bridgewater came in, threw the interception, cost us the game. We all know what happens. He needs to stay healthy. But again, that's not the only if, right? It's a big if, but it's not the only one. Another one. Teron Armstead. That man's got to stay healthy as well, right? We've seen what happens when Teron Armstead's not on that field. We've seen what happens when Teron Armstead's injury list is an Encyclopedia Britannica. You can pull out one of the books. I'm going to take D today and we'll look at it. Dissection and dislocation. And he needs to stay healthy. So that's another if. Teron Armstead stays healthy, this team could be successful. And all of a sudden, the pressure isn't so much on both ends. It's just on the one. You can kind of shift there, right? Speaking of offensive lines, another if. The Miami Dolphins will be successful if Austin Jackson improves. That right side. Does he start? Or is it going to be someone else that we brought in? I'm not even going to try to rifle off names because there's so many names that we brought in. That right side is very important. That right side has caused injuries. That right side is to his blind side. So that's another big if. Another if. Emmanuel Ogbah, can he stay healthy? Because when he was on the field in 2021, he was helping this defense. When he was on the field in 2020, he was helping this defense. Yeah, he was on the field in 2020. That man needs to stay healthy. And that's another if. A lot of these ifs, if you notice, kind of coincide with health, right? I'll throw another if at you that kind of coincides with health. Xavier Howard, if he can go back to the 10 interception Xavier Howard, if he can go back to the not banged up, groin injured Xavier Howard and pairing him with Jalen Ramsey and Kader Kohu and Cam Smith and potentially Trill Williams and potentially Nick Needham, all of a sudden this defense is just ridiculous. So that's another if and another health. But then the ifs also turn to the front office. If Mike McDaniel can learn from his mistakes, the Miami Dolphins will be successful if Mike McDaniel can learn from his mistakes, right? His clock management, his challenges, his halftime adjustments, team discipline, right? The Dolphins will be successful if the team gets more disciplined, because we were horrible when it came. Look at that Vikings game. Poor Skylar Thompson had like two touchdowns on that drive, and they all were brought back because of stupid penalties. Can Mike McDaniel take that second step, right? Now, these are kind of borderlining videos I have later on where I'm kind of questions going into the season, but these are ifs, right? More ifs, you could talk about Jason Sanders. More ifs, you could talk about Jalen Phillips. You could talk about Bradley Chubb. If that trade will pan out, if he will go back to being dominant, when he was drafted. There's a lot of ifs, right? Tua is the biggest one because we've seen the win and losses because he is on and off the field. But there's a ton of ifs, right? But then my caveat to that, not caviar, but caveat, is all teams have ifs, right? You can name any team in the NFL, and there'll be a plethora of ifs for that team. So as Dolphin fans, we shouldn't be bothered or sit back and go like, oh, God, here we go again. If Tua stays healthy, or oh, God, if Tua is... Because that can be said for a lot of things, right? And a prime example of that is this tweet that I saw, right? Bengals wide receiver Tyler Boyd says Cincinnati would have beaten the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game if he stayed healthy. I was a factor. We would have won the game if he stayed healthy, right? Look at Joe Burrow's rookie year. If he stayed healthy, and there's still that if, right? If he gets injured, their season goes down the pooper, and that's for any team. Any team. If their quarterback goes down, if the Bills, if any of these teams, the Chiefs, you look at these top teams, the Eagles, all these teams. I'm not wishing it, and I'm going to knock on wood. But if any of these guys get injured, their season kind of goes down the pooper. The Jets, if Aaron Rodgers can get back to form, right? They bring in Nathaniel Hackett, try to say that it's the same offense. But what if last year wasn't an anomaly, and after his 2 back-to-back MVP season, he kind of is now on a steady decline? There's that if, right? Because then all of a sudden, you mortgaged a lot. I guess you could say you switched first, and then if you play 65%, you lose a first next year. But you're putting a lot on Aaron Rodgers to take you to the promised land, and there's a big if there. The Browns. If Deshaun Watson was rusty, and he's going to go back to the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson, this year. Big fat if. The Chargers, they now have a new offensive coordinator, right? Justin Herbert. He hasn't had a consistent back-to-back season with an offensive coordinator. There's a lot of ifs there. Can he take the next step? Justin Herbert. Can the offense help Justin Herbert, right? Because, again, it's not all on Justin Herbert. As much as people want to come out and say, oh, Justin Herbert, offensive rookie of the year, and look at the numbers, he needs help just as much as any other quarterback does. So there's a lot of ifs there as well. So when you look at the Miami Dolphins in 2023 and all their ifs, you can do it for all the teams, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing. That's kind of what it's like going into the start of a season for any fan. Is you kind of just look at your team, right? You got free agency, you got the draft. You're going to get some trickle down post-draft, post-June 1st additions. But especially when training camp comes, you look at your team. And then you kind of try to come to some type of assessment of what can I expect from these guys, right? And that's a video in itself. 2023 expectations. I'm going to do offense, defense, coaching, and Tua expectation videos. That's coming July, August. That's a long time. But you look at these expectations, and then you start looking at, well, if that happens, we're in trouble, and if he doesn't perform, we're in trouble, and if. But I just find it funny, and the reason for this video, for one, that tweet I saw, I was like, because I've been talking to you guys about making this if video for a while, but I saw that tweet yesterday, and I was like, there's a lot of teams with ifs. But every single time, right? The Dolphins are getting high praise, right? And I don't like it. I like to be under the radar. I like to sneak up on people and get them in a sleeper lock and then, put them aside, put a blanket on them, let them sleep it out. But the Dolphins are getting a good amount of praise on ESPN, NFL Network, on radio, on all that stuff. A lot of people like our offense. Herm Edwards says we're going to have the best offense in the NFL. If Tua stays healthy. And I kept hearing that if Tua. And I was like, he ain't wrong. But there's more than just that one if. Oh, I got another if popped in my head. The tight ends. Right? There's so much that you could say. There's questions. But don't think it's a bad thing. Because like you see in the comment section, some of you guys are like, why is it if Tua can stay healthy? Are we afraid that if he takes a hit, he's going to get a concussion? Because he hasn't proved that he can, right? And that's where me as a fan start to throw that out there, right? Because some people are like, on Twitter, they say, hey, Doug, you should really trust what Mike McDaniel's doing. He took us to the playoffs year one. And I'm like, yeah. But I've been burned before. Adam Gase took us to the playoffs year one, was burned. Tony Sparano took us to playoffs year one, was burned after that. I put trust in all of these guys. And then the last guy was Brian Flores. Trust the process. Look what he did. 5 wins with a garbage team, and then he went from 5 wins to 10 wins. Trust the process. 7 straight losses. So I'm pumping my brakes, and I'm sitting back and I'm waiting. You need to continue your success. You made it to the playoffs. You won 9 games. You didn't get any better. Now you need to get better. And you need to win a flipping playoff game, for the love of God. But that's what I got for you today. If news breaks today, the Dolphins make moves, they sign anybody, whatever, they use that $13.6 million for whatever reason, you will get a video from me. Tomorrow is the last day of OTAs. Then they get a week off. Then they come back, I think it was the 9th and the 8th, for mandatory mini camps, and then they are done until the end of July when training camp starts. So I'm thinking the beginning of July. Nah, I'm going to sooner than later. Comment below when you want me to put up for the tickets, because I'm not gonna screw you guys and say like, oh, start of training camp, I'm gonna announce the winner, or I'm gonna start the raffle for the tickets, because then you don't have enough time. You get like 2 weeks to get ready to go to the game. I'm gonna give you like a month. So comment below. Let me know what you guys think. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button if you like what you see. If not, I appreciate you watching and giving me your time. But other than that, I'll see you guys either later today or definitely tomorrow with the last day of OTAs. But like usual, stay classy. It fins up.